Lesson 7-9, Generating and Identifying Patterns. The focus of this lesson is for you to build arrays representing rectangular numbers. I want you to explore the concepts of rectangular numbers and you to look for a rule to generate rectangular numbers. Then you'll finally explore by looking for patterns in the sequence of rectangular numbers. Wow, a lot about rectangular numbers in this lesson. But first, let's start with our mental math and fluency. Estimate the quotient. Quotient is the answer that you get when you divide. And then write a number sentence to show how you estimated. So 61 divided by 3. How would you write that as an estimated equation? Hopefully you realize the 1 here is less than 5. It's 4 and down, so I'm going to round that down to 60, and I'm going to leave the 3. So 60 divided by 3 equals 20. I can always check my answer by multiplying back. 2 times 3 is 6, and 0 times 3 is 0. Again, 59 divided by 5. Well, hopefully you notice that 9 is 5 or more, so that's telling me to round up the 5 to a 6. So it would be 60 divided by 5. How many times can 5 go into 60? Well, 10 times would be 50, and there'd be 10 left over, and 5 would go into that 10 twice. So my answer would be 12. Multiplication is so important at this time of year to make your division even easier. So use centimeter cubes to build the following arrays: a 1 by 2, a 2 by 1, a 3 by 4, and be prepared to discuss any patterns you notice. So to use centimeter cubes to build the arrays, you should have created something that looks like this. This is a 1 by 2 array. This is 2 rows by 3. So this is a 2 by 3 array. And this is a 3 by 4 array. If you notice, this is 1 high, 2, 1 alongside of each other. This has 1 high with a base of 3 for a 2 by 3 array. And I'm sorry if I said 1 high, it's definitely 2 from what I have here. And this is a 3 cubes high by 4 array. These arrays are models for the first 3 rectangular numbers. Rectangular numbers are numbers that can be represented by rectangular arrays. Each of these shapes is a rectangle, so they're called rectangular arrays. In each successive rectangular number, the number of rows and columns increases by 1. So in this first one, you see there is only 1 high and 2 across. So if we increase it by 1, now it's 2 high and it's 3 across. If we increase it 1 again, now it's 3 high and 4 across. Remember, students, that square numbers can also be modeled as shapes. What are the first 5 square numbers? So the first 5 square numbers are the number 1. Why? Because 1 times 1 equals 1. So that makes it a square number. My next number would be the number 4. Again, why 4? Because 2 times 2 equals 4. It's a square number. It's a number when multiplied by itself gives me that answer. So again, my next square number would be 9 because I did 1 times 1, 2 times 2. Guess what? Next is 3 times 3, and that equals 9. My next number, hopefully you're seeing the pattern, would be the answer to 4 times 4. 4 times 4, whoops, I got an extra number in there, so ignore this. 4 times 4 is 16. So that would be my next square number, 16. And finally, my first 5 square numbers would be the result of when I multiply 5 times 5. So 5 times 5 is 25. My first square numbers are the numbers 1, 4, 9, 16, and 25. What we're going to do next is I want you to turn to Math Journal page 252. And it says, draw the next 3 rectangular numbers. Again, you should have noticed that we started out with the 2 like we did previously. We increased it by 1, meaning now another row, and we increased it by 1 again. Then off of that one, we increased it by 1, both in height and in width. And we did the same thing again. So next when we start drawing, I need to be actually counting 1, 2, 3, 4. Well, if I go up 1 more, I would be going up to 5, 2, 3, 4, 5. And I'd be going over 1 more, 2, 4, 5. So I'd be going over to 6. 1, 2, 3. Sorry, my dot got away from me there. 4, 5, 6. Now again, I would be filling a dot in on every intersecting point. That's what my pattern is, increasing 1 both in height and in width. And this is what it should look like when you've drawn it. Now it's telling you to complete the rest of Math Journal page 252. This isn't a math assessment check-in, so please make sure when you complete this that you bring it up to me so I can check it off that I saw it and that you understood it. So again, on Math Journal page 252, your assessment check-in, the directions say draw the next 3 rectangular numbers, complete the list of the first 10 rectangular numbers. So it showed you here 2, showed you here 6, here 12, there 20. So your next one, it's kind of giving you a hint. And then how did you get your answers? Remember my explanation that I did. If you need to, rewind this recording. Continue the following patterns. 2 equals 2. Look at this. 2, 2, 2, 2. Look at this. 4, 4, 4, 4. 6, 6, 6. And keep your eyes open for that pattern. Describe the pattern, and what pattern do you notice about the number of add-ins and the rectangular numbers. So you're comparing the add-ins, what you added, with these rectangular numbers, and do you notice a relationship between them or a pattern? Describe a similar pattern with square numbers. So pause this recording now. When you finish with it, bring it up to me so I can check it for your assessment check-in. When you've checked in with me with the assessment check-in on page 252, I want you to complete Math Journal page 253 and go back and check that in the Math Journal answer key. Pause the recording now and please do that. What you're seeing on the screen is Math Journal page 251. I'm going to read this page to you, and then I want you to complete it and again take it back and check it in the Math Journal answer key. It says, on Monday the swim team coaches kept track to the nearest half mile of how many miles each team member swam. The following data were collected. 2.5, 2.5, 3, 3.5, 4, 4, 4.5, 5, 5, 5, 4.5, 3, 3, 3.5, 4, 2.5, 3, 4.5, 4.5. Use the line plot e-tool to plot the data set. Well, instead of you doing that, you actually have the line on your Math Journal page, so I want you to just use that to plot the data points. Go ahead and you can pause the recording now if you need to and plot those points. If not, I'm going to continue and read the next set to you. Sorry, I'm continuing to talk because it's still information that you're going to need. And I'll finish reading the page for you. So, plotting the points. You need to take the numbers, and you should have noticed already that the numbers are going up by a half. So you start with your lowest number 2, and then you increase it by a half to 2.5. And then you can increase it by a half to 3. Increase it by a half to 3.5. So that's what you should be doing with your line plot. What should the title of your line plot be? Well, Monday's swim data could be a good title for your plot. Maybe underneath the numbers you could put number of miles to the nearest half mile. And as you can see, I'm caught back up to where you are at, and I am actually going to be showing you the page that you are going to be doing as soon as it quits spinning. So again, my numbers, since I'm counting up by a half, I would start here with the number 2, 2.5, 3, 3.5, 4, 4.5, and 5. Draw the X's above, so how many of each one of those you have. Remember, title up here should be Monday's swim data. Right here, Monday's swim, and it's data. And down here on the line, you're going to be writing number of miles to the nearest half mile, because that's what it's telling you, nearest half mile. Then use the, again, you don't have to do the line plot from the video, just use it here. One says find the difference between the greatest and the least number of miles each person swam. So you're looking at the greatest number swam and the least number swam. And you're going to have to put the number down with the unknown and then answer it in miles. How many miles were swum all together by those who swam? 3.5 miles. So you go up, find the 3.5 mile one, times it by how many did that to get your answer in miles. Make sure when this says unknown, you are not writing the answer here. You're writing the answer only here. Number 3 asks, how many miles were swum altogether by those who swam 2.5 miles? Again, your number model with the unknown and your answer in miles here. How many miles were swum altogether by those who swam 4.5 miles? The number model with the unknown and then your answer in miles here. Number 5. How many miles were swum altogether by the 6 team members who swam the least amount of miles? Number model with the unknown and your answer here. Pause the recording now, finish Math Journal page 251, and then turn the recording back on for the final 2 things you need to do for this lesson. You should have checked Math Journal page 251 and the answer key, and now you need to do Math Journal page 254. It reads, 246 pairs of eyeglasses have to be packed in boxes of 6 per box. 369 pairs of sunglasses have to be packed in boxes of 9 per box. How many boxes are needed for each type? Fill in the circle next to the true or false. More boxes are needed for the eyeglasses than the sunglasses. In order for you to be able to answer these, you have to figure out the math problems up above, and then true or false. More boxes are needed for the sunglasses than the eyeglasses. True or false. The same number of boxes are needed for both. True or false. Or you cannot tell how many boxes are needed. Well, that's going to be false because you can figure it out based on the numbers that they gave you here. Pause the recording and finish Math Box 1. Math Box 2 reads, 3 friends went berry picking, each with the same size bucket. Susan collected 5/12 of a bucket of berries, Barbara collected 6/12 of a bucket, and Edward collected 8/12 of a bucket. How many buckets of berries did the friends collect all together? Your number model, but this time with the answer, and then write your number of buckets down below. For 3 and 4, you're simply dividing in 3 and you're multiplying in 4. And for 5, it's explained how you used equations to solve problem 2. So how did you solve problem 2 and write your steps down here? When you finish with this page, go up to the answer key and check it. Then bring it to me because I'm going to want to look over page 251 and 254. Your final assignment for lesson 7-9 is the home link. Please go to the file and get Math Masters page 281. It says, Alice was making squares out of toothpicks. She noticed a pattern involving the length of one side and the perimeter of the square. Complete the table and then answer the questions that follow. So you got to complete this table and then answer these questions. Then bring that paper up to me, and you will be done with lesson 7-9.